Alright, today I'm going to be disassembling this vintage Rolex movement. It's a Rolex 910, I believe, or Gruen. I think it's a Gruen 827 movement. It's got some interesting stuff. It's got a wheel above the bridge here, which is, I've asked a few very smart people what to do about that, and a lot of people have said if you don't have the right tool to remove that, then leave it in place for the cleaning. It's got a spring in the top that holds a center shaft or pivot in there. I think that's for the second hands. And then to remove the crown and stem, I believe you have to unscrew this little screw here. But the first thing I want to do is release the power from this movement. So release the power, release the Kraken. So I've got the movement in position here, and I just need to wind it just a little bit so I can get a hold of this click spring here and then move the click spring. So I will do that very carefully and push that up like so, and then I'm just going to walk the power back on the movement. Nice and easy. And don't let it kick back, because you can damage the mainspring on this. Not sure what kind of mainspring it takes, but I can hear the mainspring on the inside kind of unwinding itself. Now this watch is a 1957 Rolex Oyster Expedition. There we go. That's done. It's pretty beat up. Its amplitude is somewhere around 10 degrees. It's a pretty pathetic amplitude. I should be able to unscrew this to take the stem out. This little baby is a little tricky, so I gotta make sure I absolutely have the right screwdrivers for every one of these jobs. So patience is a must here. And I did dress my screwdrivers, but these ones here don't seem to be fitting in the slot very well, so I have to have a look at these and make sure there's no big issue. And I want to just be able to tuck that in and then turn the screw. The screw seems to be very tight. And as I used to say when I was in the army, don't force the parts. So if you're forcing the parts, then the chances are you're going to break something. And I do not want to strip any screws here either. So. No, it's not doing it either. So I may have to go online and ask for some sage advice. Because this does not seem to be turning well. I notice that when I do this, it's moving the whole crown in and out. Like that. So is that normal or what? And maybe this is a kind of a device that where you take the screw and you move it part way, and then there's some kind of a spring on the inside that you can touch that allows you to move that pawl out of the way to basically remove the stem. Without removing the stem, there's zero chance of removing the movement. So I'm going to go get some help for this and see what the advice is. Stand by to stand by. Alright, I got it out. So my bravery continues here. So what happened was this screw, it's a very, very small screw right there. It was probably, not last time it was turned, it was probably 1957. So I just had to lean in on it and make sure it was firmly held, and then I was able to remove the screw. So stand down, as they say. Stand down. Not that bad. Actually, I don't have to use that until I get the movement out. So let's continue with the adventure. again, this thing scares me, but so do other things in life, right? So there seems to be an inner ring here of some sort that needs to be removed, and then there's the watch movement here. So I probably need to remove the movement first and then the ring after, I'm thinking, because this is attached. So if I'm able to loosen these case screws at all, usually I use the yellow screwdrivers or the black ones for these kind of screws. This thing though is stubborn as hell. Holy crap. It's a 1957, like I told you before, so I'm going to pick out the screws with my Rodico so I don't damage anything. I have to look at those screws after. And thing is patience. Lots of patience is what you need to do this kind of stuff. If you don't have patience, then find something else to do. And you have to hold it firm while you're doing it. One thing I'm glad though is that this movement is not very decorated, and it looks like it's been hacked around a million times, so not sure. I'm just going to lift this up a bit and see if there's any movement at all on the movement. I don't think there is. Most likely I'll probably have to unscrew these side screws first before I'm able to lift this movement out. This is what I'm thinking. So why not? Let's get in there and remove these guys. They're tough to remove. Again, I may speed all this stuff up because it's just boring as hell, right, for you. Trying to find the exact right screwdriver to get in here. And again, I'm not sure whether the movement is, when I loosen that up, does that loosen the movement up? It seems to be rotating a bit. Just push this a bit and see if there's... It may just fall out. Let me see if I can... I'm going to use my movement holder, although I saw someone do this technique the other day. It's kind of neat. Just put a plastic sheet over the top and then rotate the whole movement like that and then let it fall out. And yeah, that didn't work. That seems so cool. So let's just make sure that I do the same thing going back, because I don't want the movement to fall out on me, because it's old. It's old like I am. So that was a great technique with no success. Keep up the humor there, mister. It does seem to move, but again, there's a ring on the inside here that just looks like it's maybe a tab. I think there's a tab in there that I need to loosen to get this whole thing out. You know that I'm going to have to back up the video in order to see what the heck I did. Oh, come on, move. Oh, there we go. Everything is just seized in. It's 1,000 years of dirt or something. Again, patience, patience, patience. Turn that screw a few more times. Looks like it should just come out, but it's not. Oh, there we go. Outer ring screw. I'm actually putting them in the right side, so I don't mix them up a lot. Again, because this watch is so old, it seems like everything is just seized in there. You might have had some moisture ingress on it that caused this. So, do you like the way I use that word ingress? It's the opposite of outgress, I guess. Let me see what this ring does now. It seems to be little tabs down here that, yeah, there's tabs in the bottom here that would move out of the way. I think these tabs go in first and then the ring goes in. Oh yeah, I can see how the tabs work. Tabs are on the inside, but they're holding the, I think they're holding the movement down. So it's again, I just need to take my time. There's one of the tabs there. I'll just sit this on top. You can see that little tabby-roo, a tabaroo. And so these tabs are pushing down on, I think, the ring. So the ring then is holding the movement in place, but then there's more screws holding the ring in place. It's one crazy design. It's probably not supposed to ever take these things apart. Now, do you think if I flip this over with the plastic, I'm gonna, or use my remover here and see how successful I am? I don't know. I think I'll do that. I'll just put the Bergeron movement holder on top. This is gel filled, which is kind of nice. And just turn the whole movement over like that. And then see if I pick it up. Is it going to stay in place? Yes, it does. Look at that. That is amazing. So, and as I go through this fun little job here, I think that I want to also I'm going to make sure that keep an eye on all the different parts that are part of this thing. I'm examining some of this for the first time, so what I'm going to do is maybe put the stem back so I can get the time set properly. Hopefully the stem will come in nicely. And then set the time to 12 o'clock so I can remove the hands and not worry about anything here. Yeah, I wish the second hand was out of the way. So, let's see what I got here. Yeah, this looks like it's okay. I'll have to take a picture of this or something, because to look for screws to take the face off after I take the hands off. So I think I'll just line the hands up with the second hand, and that way when I grab the hands underneath, everything comes up, which should be a little easier than doing it the other way. The second hands are also, the minute hand and the hour hand are offset too, so they're not really in the right position. So I think that's kind of crappy. Let me grab the C1A1 hand removal tools and put a sheet of plastic over the top to protect the the Rolex movement from the hand removers. So that, and just pry them up nice and easy, just carefully. Get the hand remover under the hour hand and then just pry them up. There we go. That worked well. And again, I'm going to probably pick these up at Rodico. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'll pick them up with Rodico. That way there's no damage at all to the loom on there. The loom is pretty poor. It looks like this watch is just as old as it says it is. Just put these parts down nice and easy. So I'm lining them all up over there. If I zoom out some more, you'll see that. So there's a face. Now before I take this face off, I'm going to just take the Rodico very quickly and just rub the face a bit with the Rodico and see what happens. See if there's any improvement. It removes a bit of the dirt, which is nice. But there may be no improving this face. It's pretty worn out, pretty old. Vintage, as you might say. It's a vintage face. Yeah, I don't want to play with this too much. I'll just play with it along the edge. If you're going to try something out on a watch, then you should just work on the edges, not in the middle here, because the worst thing you could do is take some Rodico or something and then just press on the edges and find out that you've removed some of the writing on there or something like that. So you don't want to mess with that, because that's kind of dangerous. So, but I have to figure out how to take out the face. It doesn't look like there's any screws for removing the face. Let me flip this over then. This thing cost me about $50, I think, on eBay, but it's nice and soft, so you're not going to scar anything. So, which is nice. Now, this would normally have, you can see two pegs here, right? One peg here and one peg here. So on the other side of this is where you would see the you would see the screws that tighten onto these pegs. Usually, there's a lot of usually things happening here. So I'm going to see if I can pry off this case thing here. I'm going to have to take the stem out again, but just ease the stem out a bit. It's in the setting position, which is good. So, and just pry this back a bit while I'm holding the movement. And I'm hoping I can this will just slip out of the, there we go. There, that's the ring. So that came out nicely. And those little jaws go up and this jaw goes down. Okay. I'm going to put this back for 2 seconds in place and just take a quick photograph of that just so I know where it came from, because again, there's no manuals on how to reassemble this or anything, so I'm going to have to keep taking a few photos every now and then to stay ahead of the problems. Right? That's what you do. It's what you do. So that's that. Okay, so that's good news. Got the ring out. It's a retaining ring, so I suspect that on the side right here there'd be some small screws to release the hand grabbers. I bought a new pair of those, by the way. I got these things here. I bought a very nice pair that are a little less slope and just longer, so it's not as drastic a corner, because I don't know whether they'll work better or not, but they seem to be better. So let me just get the screw in here and see if I can grab that. I gotta get my other glasses on here, because these are, I think, too close. Again, these screws are tight as hell. Keeping an eye where my fingers are with relation to the balance, so nothing happens there. You know what, it was loose already. So there we go. That's one. And then the second one's right here. Grab that and just make sure that the screwdriver is nicely in the slot. There we go. That's two. I'm just going to pry this from the top here. Technique. It's all about technique. These screws have to come out a little further here. They're mirrored up. There's a peg in the middle, right? That's part of the face. And it's a Yeah, that's good there. Look at that. It's going to come. It's going to fall right out. Just turn that around the other way. Nice and easy. And then I should be able to lift that right up. Just pry that. I think the word's prise or something. To pry that open or prise it or something. I think I listened to Mark a while back and he was saying you gotta prise it open or something. Nice and easy. Try loosening the screw up a bit more because it might be still in the way. There we go. And once you're finished removing the face of the watch, Jesus, I think it's still stuck. Makes no sense at all. There we go. Wow, as they say, wow. Yeah, these are in good shape. So these little lugs are in great dial lugs or whatever they're called. They're in excellent shape, so no problem there. Just set the dial down, and I'm just going to take a few things off of this watch to start off with. I'll move this case out of the way. Again, I'm going to take another picture of this watch because, again, it's no manuals for this thing, so you're just diving in with a little hope and praying and pleading and hoping. So I just we'll take out the dial washer here, and then there we go. And then the hour gear here, nicely meshed. And you got to remove this spring here to take out the minute gear. But first, before I do that, not sure if I can just lift the cannon pinion up or not. I know that you got to really watch the center of this here because the cannon pinion, there's a minute. There, it came right up. That was nice. And you see this little thing right there? This little jobby do here comes straight out. So that was the cannon pinion. Was that the cannon pinion or the minute wheel? I don't know. That's the cannon pinion, pretty sure. And this thing here, then there's got to lift this stem out because it can get bent very easily. So what I want to do is remove that stem, and I need to unscrew this spring here to remove that stem. I'd really like to get this balance out of the way though, because it's scaring me. So I may have to go to my movement holder here and go from there. So it's a tough job. Just going to make sure that there's no parts in there that will be damaged by this movement holder at all. So just going to close this down just a bit. It's almost like this thing was made for it. There we go. It's in pretty steady, and I'm going to loosen up this. I want to loosen up this big screw here so I can pull this wheel from the center all the way out. But I guess before I do that, I should really remove the balance because I don't want to foul the balance on this. I'm scared. Scared. This is one of the scarier watches I've ever worked on. It's not easy because it's first of all it's a Rolex, and everybody's saying, okay, it's a Rolex. You hear that the screw just snaps? It goes snap. That means the thing has not been touched in a long time, if that snaps like that. So it's not a good thing. I guess just because it's old. So I'm moving that out of the way, and I'm just going to pry the bounce. I'm going to get a different. This thing here is way too close, I think. It's great when you're doing really, really detailed work, but oh my god, you can see ants and germs and stuff jumping up and down there, so that's too scary. There we go. I'm going to loosen this up here and then shift it around, because I don't want the Alright, I learned my lesson. I did a really good disassembly video of this Rolex, and the camera, my YouTube or my video camera crashed. I bought a software package to recover it, and it only recovered 30 minutes of the whole thing, so I was kind of pissed off that this happened. But anyway, this is the Rolex movement disassembled. And there's a lot of pieces over here as well that are part of this. Make sure this clamp is in good, because I'm going to end up taking a run for it. And I've cleaned 99% of the movement already, so I still have to work on the balance. That's over here, dangling here on the balance cock. I took the balance off and I put it here. Kind of miffed that this happened. This top wheel here I did not take off, as some folks recommended not to remove this because you could have issues unless you have the special Rolex tool to do that. I cleaned all the gears. I think I cleaned all the gears. Let me throw this one back in the bath. No, I think I cleaned this one. So I cleaned all the gears. I think I cleaned all the gears. Can I put that one back in for a second? Anyway, let's hand cleaned all the gears. And so let me just move this over a bit so you can see what I'm up to. And I'm cleaning these gears. I do it by hand, and I just brush them lightly when they're in lighter fluid here. I don't have the $9,000 cleaning machine, so I guess if you've got that, you can clean the watch with that, and away you go. But I don't have that. That's maybe a future procurement, but I tend to be able to do this pretty good by hand. So this is the old way of doing pocket watches anyway. So use the old standards, and I dry the parts off nicely. I draw the parts off nicely here with watch paper and let them dry for quite some time. I've already done the main plate here of the watch, so that's already done. And I'm really, really peeved that you didn't get to see the disassembly of all this, because it was quite the adventure. Anyway, I ended up taking it all apart, and I've cleaned it all up. The only thing I haven't cleaned to date yet is the pallet fork, I think. So, and you've got to be very gentle cleaning the pallet fork, and especially if you're going to use lighter fluid. It shouldn't impact the shellac, but you don't want it to be an issue. So what I do here is I'll clean that really quickly, and then once that pallet fork is cleaned up, I'm going to be using my air thing here to dry that as fast as possible. I don't think it'll affect the I don't think it's going to affect the so I'm just using this here and I'm puffing it, so I'm drying it up here. I learned a long time ago never to puff this thing when you're really near really small parts, because they go flying, and this will dry off extremely quickly with this little puffer going on here. Clean that pallet fork up nicely, and I'll have a look at that later, make sure there's no issues. And a plate for the pallet fork, I cleaned that already, and I'm hoping to successfully videotape the assembly. So I've got to pop the barrel here. So I'm going to adjust the camera again just a bit so you can get an eyeball on the barrel here. So, and I think it's in focus sort of there. And I'll move that up a little bit here. And I'm on my new Horatech bench. And I think from now on I'm going to stop the videos every 10 minutes so I don't lose the whole damn thing. So that kind of pissed me off. But, you know, so they did all that work, and I had some great audio on there, and I know that you guys would have liked it. There's two ways of doing this here. You can actually push the plate up, and then it'll remove itself, or you can do just what I did here. So, and I always like to make sure that I put these wheels out of the way so I don't have a problem. I like to make sure that when I'm doing this, I oil the spring nicely. I'm going to walk the spring out of the barrel, and I'll probably walk it back into the barrel by hand. So I'm not sure if I want to pop it back in, but just put the parts back where they belong at all times. Again, sorry I didn't get the disassembly of this Rolex, especially this little job you do here. This is a seconds pinion, I guess. It's a really long pinion. It goes all the way through the movement. So I will try to videotape the assembly as I attempt to put it back together again. And I'm saying attempt because it should be fun. Let me look at this here. That's the barrel. That looks like it's in pretty tight in there. Yeah, so I'm going to walk this out with my fingers very carefully, but I've got to take take a picture of it, and then I'm going to walk it out, clean it, roll it back in. And then I'm going to see if I can clean that barrel really quickly as well. So I'm just checking to see how the arbor is put in here. Looks like it's in nicely. It's nicely put in arbor. I think that's my wife walking around out there. So one thing I don't want to do is lose the arbor, which can happen when it pops out. So I got to be very careful when I'm farting with the arbor here. Trying to get the camera angle is tough here because it's you guys aren't going to see anything unless I move everything over. Do it like that. There we go. Let me think here. Plus I don't want to bend the spring. Plus it looks pretty clean. I'm going to pause this and get this out. Pause and get it out. Alright, so I'm actually walking the spring out with the arbor attached because the damn thing is too tight. So I've got the probability of this thing flying all over the place, which I don't like either. I'm just going to do it really carefully here. Just walk the spring out, and I'll get back in a second. Alright, just toss the barrel in there, and I'll put the cap in there as well. And I walked the spring out successfully, but I never took the arbor out. I'm not sure if that matters or not, but I got the spring like this. There it is there. And it looks like it is, yeah, it's just hooked in. There must be a hook on the inside of the barrel there. So let me wash this very carefully. Let me pause this for a second. So as you can see, there's a ton of dirt on the mainspring barrel, so that's nasty. So that was not good. That's probably causing the watch all kinds of problems. So I'll just clean that up a little more and put it on out to dry. So the next job is to peg out all the jewel holes to make sure that they're absolutely clean and ready to receive the pivots. So I'm going to do that. I've got to sharpen the end of this pegwood for the pegging job. Alright, the pegwood is nice and sharp here, and I put some gloves on here so I wouldn't put fingerprints on the movement, and probably a good thing. And I've got to get up nice and close here to do this. I'm going to change my eyepiece to a much stronger one. Put away the brush, put things away. I don't need to be in the way so it doesn't foul anything. And this is the eyepiece I'm going to use. And when I peg this out, I'm still pissed off that my video failed, by the way. I don't know if you can tell, but I think I may want to hold this into the movement holder because it's such a great movement holder. I don't know. It's an amazing movement holder. So I can just put that in like that. Tighten it up just a bit. Look at that. It's like it conforms to the watch. It's amazing. It's like this thing was made for Rolex, maybe. And now I can get in nice and close and start with the big holes. So you can start with the where the center wheel would go, and then you sort of work your way down. I got another wheel, a jewel here that's sort of big, but, or is it big or small? Maybe it's small. I don't know. That might be the jewel where that other wheel is just resting. This is a strange movement. That's all I gotta say. These things are actually really clean. I'm gonna look at this under my microscope as well to make sure that there's no issues there at all. But they do look really, really clean. So I did a good job. The barrel though, oh my god, it was dirty. The mainspring barrel looked like it needed an overhaul, I think. So I peg those out. I take a little bit of Rodico to pick up any residual. And I gotta clean the cap jewel on the upper lower balance as well. So that is a job that needs to be done. And let me look at this plate here and see if there's any work I can do on this. And I could peg out the hole. There's a brass fitting there though, so it's kind of waste or useless. Do it anyway. And yeah, there was dirt in there, alright. This thing here is a little, I'm not sure what this is for, but it's a loop that goes in over here, so I don't want to lose that. Someday maybe when I've worked on a number of Rolexes I'll become a Rolex expert, but right now I'm not. I'm just doing the best I can do. That's what I do. That's what I do. Trying to keep all these parts from hitting each other, colliding. And I got to put the barrel, I got to put the arbor back in there because I took the arbor out. I unwound the spring with the arbor in it, and that was a probably not a wise decision because the arbor would have gone flying, but it was in good condition, so there was no problem there. I'm going to look under the microscope for this plate right here to see whether there's any issues there, and I'm going to also, these are pretty well cleaned here, but it's always a good idea to take a bit of pithwood. See if I can get some pithwood here. There's some pithwood, and I gotta pith out the gears. Just all you do is you tap the top of these like that, and not too much pressure, and then tap the bottom just to make sure there's no dirt on those either. And I also did do a little bit of Rodico on here. I think I'm going to get a nice clean piece of Rodico. So this piece is ugly. Let me pause for a second. There, got a brand new piece of Rodico here, nice and clean, brand spanking new, and I'll just tap the ends here to make sure there's nothing there. And there's nothing in the gears at all, and there's nothing in the pinions. So they're also nicely cleaned out, so it's not a problem there. So that's one. Let's get that out of the way, and I'll look at this wheel as well. Just jab that in the end there to get enough Rodico on there. And then, you know what, I'm not sure. I think I did the escapement. Anyway, I'm going to tap the escapement pinions on the end too with a bit of Rodico here, just in case there's anything on there. and the feet. And then I'm going to take the pallet fork and tap that on the end as well, although you saw me earlier clean the jewels, so you should be fine. And also the mouth of the pallet fork as well, or the opening where the dagger is. There we go. Yeah, and then this one here you got to really be careful with, because it's the if you break this, you're screwed. This goes all the way down the center, so that's the seconds where the second hand goes. I don't know why they designed it that way. It's kind of a nutty design. So now this is the center wheel here, goes all the way in, and I think we're good with that. The teeth look spanky clean on this one as well, because they got the old lighter fluid bath. Try not to breathe in the lighter fluid, because that's, I believe it's carcinogenic. I'm not sure. I'll let you know in 20 years. Probably is. Yeah, that's nice. And you know, there's the this was rinsed out as well with everything that I had going on. So that's nice. I'm going to see if I can get the barrel back in, but before I do that, I just want to scrape the inside of the barrel with Rodico, because there was so much dirt in this barrel that it was disgusting. It looked like the whoever the watchmaker was, they put a bunch of oil on the barrel, and then it got all gummed up. It's not a good idea, because you can screw the barrel up that way, or actually probably slowed the watch down. Who knows? I want to get this thing running well, so if it's at all possible. I'm going to just tuck the arbor back in here. This usually takes a few minutes, so I'm going to pause here. I actually think that's the hardest job in watchmaking, is getting the damn arbor back in. It's not easy, I'll tell you that. And I've done quite a few of them, and they're always difficult. So anyway, a little bit of oil on the mainspring, but not too much. And this will just transfer itself around. And let me hold this down while I'm doing this. Might be too much there, but I can tap that with Rodico and get rid of some of it. And put a little bit around the barrel here, like that. And let me just tap the edge here just a bit with Rodico, because I just think that's a bit too much there. Alright, so that's pretty good there. And what a job. Wow. And again, I wish I would have you would have been able to see me take this thing apart, because it was a lot of fun. Anyway, every now and then your stupid videos screw up, but I'm sure you've seen a disassembly of a watch before, so no problems. No prob, Bob. Gloves back on. I'm ready to fight. I think actually tomorrow night's the Tyson fight. I think Mike Tyson's trying to get back his fame again. So just make sure there's nothing under there. That's the Mike Tyson fight tomorrow night. Should be interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't think the cap's got to go in any particular way. I think this is just the slice for removing the cap. So I'm just going to pinch that back on and squeeze the barrel, and then we're good to go. A little difficult to do with gloves on, though. I'm telling you. Just saying. So you grab that barrel, and then I got a barrel pusher in the mail, so I should, when I get that, I'll be able to push down and snap the barrel in with that. So right now I got to do it by hand. They don't have the barrel pusher. It ain't here yet. Luckily, I'm an expert barrel pusher. There we go. It's in place. It's flat. It's good to go. You look at that. And just check the edges there to make sure that the cap's on perfectly. There's no problems. And we got ourselves a cleaned up barrel. Excellent. And so I've pegged the movement out. I've cleaned the barrel up. I think the next thing to do is actually to reassemble this watch. So I'm going to do, again, I'm a little bit miffed that, I'm a little bit pissed off that I lost the that video on this, because that would have really helped me for reassembly as well. But I've got to put this part of the movement together again, which is all the springs and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to use my phone, I think, to have a look at how that went. Is that in there good? I don't want to be too tight. I'm going to squish something. Anyway, I'm going to just... Oh, I think I can take my gloves off for this because I'm not using any hands for this stuff because it's too darn small. So I may speed it up as well. It's going to be really boring at this speed. Plus I'm going to be looking at my phone every now and then to make sure I'm not screwing anything up. So I got my picture, then I'm going to basically put this back together, what I would like to call picture perfect. I'm doing the balance last, by the way. And I'm going to put these together, then all this together, and I'm going to clean the jewel on the bottom. So if I get the photos out, I can see what that looks like. That's it there. So I got to reconstruct that. Shouldn't be too bad. The only problem with these stupid phones is that the picture disappears after a few seconds. So if you're trying to get something done properly, you got to basically get it done fast. So the first thing is this part here. Oh man, I'm gonna whine a lot here. I think that's what I'm gonna do, because this is gonna be really difficult. I think my lighting is off too, because the lighting's coming in from this way and not this way, which gives me a bit of shadow, and it might actually be too bright. So I can turn down the lighting a bit so that it's not just overwhelming. So this part here has got the little knobby on the upside and the hooky on the downside. It's like high-end, that's high-end English. Knobby on the upside and hooky on the downside. It sort of goes like that, which means I do have to press that down with my fingernail as I screw the screw in from the other side, which is going to be difficult. That's why I said it's hard to do these things, because they're I think if I just screw it in, hold it in place like that while I screw it in from the other side, then I'll be able to get that in place. So, and I apologize, but I'm going to have to grab that movement again by the edges. I'll clean it up after, maybe. It's, I can't do it any other way. I'm sorry, folks. I don't think they had these gloves when they were 1957, so I need a screwdriver though, because I need to just turn that screw on the top and hopefully it finds the threads. Finding anything? Yeah, actually it did find the threads. Cool. So I'm just trying to just coax that thing on a bit. I need a glass of water or something because I'm getting pretty parched. Now there's no way that I can get it on unless I move that spring out of the way, right? Let me just squeeze this a bit. Turn this like this so that the screw doesn't get in the way here. My God, I love this movement holder. This is like the best. Double screwdrivers. I know this is so exciting. You guys are putting up with me here as I talk my way through this thing. I'm going to leave it just like that. And that's one way it goes. So that's sort of the spring is kind of hooked in there. And then I'm going to try to screw it in without moving that spring just a bit more. Nice and easy. That spring move yet? Nope. Still in place. Easy does it. Easy does it, boy. Easy does it. I can actually see one of the screws for the dials. That I gotta make sure I put that screw back in and not squish anything with it. So, but I gotta move this nice and easy. Hold my breath. There we go. And that's in tight now, which is where I want it. I'm going to take these dial screws and I want to put those in a bit for now. I don't want to lose them. This one here too. Okay, that's good. It's been almost 5 hours of work on this watch here, which means either I'm slow or it's complex. So that's that side there. So I'm going to, that's one spring in. I'll have a look at my picture again to make sure I'm still good. Did I tell you I like the movement holder? Oh my God, this thing is wonderful. I'd be so pissed off if I was using my other movement holders. So now I've got to put in this crazy ass leaf spring. So I said the A word. Anyway, this is the crazy leaf spring right here. And the dog, if it looks like a rabbit, so the rabbit goes down. So I think it goes right in there like this, and the rabbit goes down. So it squeezes in between the two. So it's the back of this other one is actually on it. So I got to put it in there and make sure the screw hole's the right one. Yeah, it's that one there. So that goes right in there, like that. So I might be able to get that screw in first, and then put it in place. So we'll see whether I can do that or not. Somebody said this is like brain surgery. The worst part of all this is that is trying to get this. I think I'm too close. Maybe I'm too close. My other loop far away or closer? I don't know. Oh yeah, the other loop's farther away. I need to get a little bit farther away. I'm crowding my work. Crowding my work. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's much better. It's way up there, Jerry. Way up there. I don't talk like this at work, by the way. I know this isn't going to work. I can tell by the way I'm doing it right now. I need to put this in place and then turn it. I also think this watch needs to be demagnetized because it seems to have it's attracted to me too much. something there. Now, do some praying, because this better work. Look at that, a real pro. Alright, before I tighten that all the way down, I've got to move the rabbet. I got to edge the rabbet over here. There's the spring. So I put the rabbet in place and move the spring out of the way, like that. So that goes like that. And then tighten the screw down here. I need my other screwdriver. Too much stuff up here in the bench. You guys still paying attention to all this nonsense? Hope so. So I gotta tighten this up right there. I don't know, I don't think this moves. Or does it? Yeah, actually it does. So if I tighten it up too much, it's not going to be able to ride up and down. Yes it is. Let me tighten it again and see what happens. Because I think it may be based... Oh yeah, it moves. So it only goes down so far. So that's the action right there, folks. That's quite the action. I'm going to stop this. And alright, so the next job there, as you can see in my little diagram, is to put this part in here. So I've got this in, springs in. This part here needs to go in, but I've got to put the little wheels in first, or else there's no way that this is going to work. So let me do that. Like I said before, I think that these wheels, what I'm going to do too, because this is a good idea as you're assembling this, is to throw the oil down. Throw the oil down. Throw the oil down. So I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there. You got to lube up the watch as you're doing this. So just try not to get my stuff all mixed up here. So there's the oil, and I'm just going to put a little bit of this oil, and I've told you in all the other videos what type of oil these things are. I'm going to oil this post as well, just before I start assembling it all, like that. There we go. And I think that's all I'm going to oil on that side here. So there is a jewel hole right here, and I think that's where the that main shaft goes all the way down. So I'm going to oil that too. It doesn't need a lot of oil, so there. So then I can put this gear down in here like that, and then I want to put the minute wheel back very carefully. You gotta hold these things like you own them. There we go. It's nicely in place. You can see the rotational movement there of these things here. And then I gotta throw the dog in. This is a one-legged dog, so it looks like anyway. So the thin part goes that way and the other part goes the other way. So it goes like this, like that. And I got to look at that diagram because that arm on the top, no, it just rests there. So I think what happens is that when this thing opens up, it hits this arm here. So I think that's the way it works. And there's two screws that hold this thing in place. So, put them in nice and lightly for now. you're holding screws to do this, you hold them. You get kind of used to it, but you got to hold them really light. Make sure the threads are in there nice, so you don't have any different other problems. And I always check the width of my screwdriver to make sure it's not wider than the screw I'm trying to put in. And then make sure it's nice and flat, and then I can tighten that screw up a bit. And tighten this one up. It's good there. Should still be rotating nicely. Yeah, there we go. No problem there at all. That's good. Crash, boom, bang. So that's all I need to do on this side, except I want to clean that cap jewel there, or the cap on that jewel. So I need to disassemble that cap and then clean the jewel. So that is under the balance staff. So in this one here, I got to get nice and close for that. So I got my nice and close goggles that I use for that. So I'm going to turn it off and clean the cap jewel, because this takes a while and it's going to kill the video. So I got the screw off of that cap. I had to actually take my screwdriver, and I used the 2000 plate grit diamond, and I dressed the end of the screwdriver again so that it would fit in the slot, because it wasn't fitting properly. So I just put that screw down like that, and hopefully the cap will just lift right up. There we go. And I need just to clean that, and the way I clean that is with I use a little bit of pegwood on the jewel itself, very lightly, just to get the old oil off. I can also use, I think I can use some lighter fluid on this too, but I'm going to use very little lighter fluid, so I'm going to basically put a bottle cap up there. I had another bottle cap that didn't have the plastic part of it in there. Where did I put that? Where did I put that? That ain't it. I don't know where it is. It's jumped. It's disappeared. Let me just get this cap out, and then what I'll do is I'll clean that jewel off. Of course, I'm using my little close-up lenses to get the cap off. So just take the cap and pull that out. There you go. And you got yourself a tiny little container for lighter fluid. And then where is that damn thing? Did I say damn? I didn't mean to. So what I'm going to do is throw that in there, right in the middle, like so. Make sure that the part that's needs cleaning is on the right side, which is not right now. So anyway, sometimes the glasses are too close, sometimes they're too far. You're always changing the lenses. You just keep playing with it until you get it right. So like somebody said, you got to be really patient in this kind of profession, this non-profession profession. Is that right? That one there landed perfectly, I think. Yep, I can see the oil on the top. And these are the glasses I normally use here, and I'll put the other ones on and have another closer look. And that is, I believe that's good. Let me have a look again here. See if it landed on the correct side. Yeah, that's good there. And there's a blob of oil on there, and that's dried out really bad, which is not going to help the pivot trying to turn. So I'm going to put one drop down on this, or try to anyway. Different glasses, change the glasses, blah blah blah. I'm happy, very very excited. That was my granddaughter that did that. It's funny as heck. So I just want, oh yeah, I'm dripping it all over the place. I'm going to just do this. There we go. That's way too much. Now I got myself lighter fluid all over the place, so I'll sop that up with this paper. And I put some over here too, I think. Oh, it's got that too. There we go. Sop that up. That's going to evaporate super quick. So see what it does with this. Oh, look at that. It makes it bubbly, which means I'm going to end up having to get a new one now because lighter fluid and this rubber silicone stuff don't like each other. Not good. Damn. I got to cut another one of these out. So, wow. Why did it do that? Anyway, back to work. So I get the pegwood out. I got a big, giant piece of pegwood here. It's the world's biggest piece of pegwood. Flip glasses and be prepared to hold on. Kind of pissed that that lighter fluid did that. I probably shouldn't have poured it right there. So I just go in there and I just steady that with my tweezers and then clean off the that. So that kind of does a great job. Look at that, eh? It's bubbling, Jerry. It's bubbling. Too much Seinfeld reference. Yeah, that's perfect. So this thing is like clean as clean can be. So now I got to very carefully pick it up. Get another piece of paper. I ruined the last one. And just in case you're wondering what paper I'm using, because I do tell people what I'm doing when I'm doing these videos. Yeah, I'm going to replace this. You know, I got another mat all ready to replace this, so I'm not really angry. Just partially angry. But this is the paper I use. Just show you this really quick. Security, watch papers, 1,000 sheets. I think I'm down to 965 over the past 9 years. So anyway. And just pull that out nice and easy. And put that down there. There we go. That's going to dry up nicely. You know what? See, you get really close, you screw up. It's not on the watch, and it's not on the paper. Good job, buddy boy. Alright, just put this aside here because that'll just evaporate because there's no problem there at all. And turn this around. Make sure that's dried out and then turn it around again. Use a piece of pegwood to wedge it up on one side. And then I'm going to take that pegwood again and make sure that we got nothing on there at all. No, that's clean as a whistle. Now, make sure that is dry. Like that. And I'm going to look at the hole here that's in here because I might want to, if I can, peg out this hole. But before I do that, I don't want to lose that part, so I'm going to move the part over here because that's really easy to lose. Yeah. Alright, and get rid of the paper and the bump that's now occurred in here. Wonderful. My wife said you can buy that stuff from the dollar store, which is wonderful. And the clean Rodico. It's nice there. And I'm just going to put a dab, clean off the oiler. And I'm going to put a dab of oil. Normally I turn this around here and bring this up top. Normally I'd put the oil on the top of this and then turn it around. That's probably the proper way of doing it, but I'm afraid I will screw that up. So what I'm going to do is put the oil on the top of the jewel, just a tiny little bit of oil. If you pull the oiler out super slow, you get less oil. So that's perfect there. Drop that in place. There we go. And then if I'm correct, it was this one that I dressed. The white one. I think I dressed the white one. So I gotta get in here and hold my breath. There we go. Tighten that down. And now I got the other one to do. So I'm going to turn the video off and do the other one, and I'll be back. Right, the second one's in here now. So I need to take that out. Put that on the watch paper, not like before. And dry that up. And then oil it and put the cap back on. These are things that are... This is what takes time in watchmaking. It's not taking the watch apart, wasn't that difficult, but cleaning all the cap jewels, if it's a high-end watch too, like a 21 jewel watch, that takes a lot of time. So there we go. Flip that around, and just again make sure that there's no oil on it. Dry it out nicely. Now I could be a really good boy this time and just put the oil on that side, right, on the correct side. I'm talking with my golf voice again, so I could do this. I have a feeling though if I do that I can't slip the cap back on, which would be a big pain. I know if I put the oil on like that, you don't want to put too much oil on there. Otherwise you can have other problems, like sticky jewels or something. So it takes a while to learn how to hold a part like this and rotate it. So that's the kind of skill you get with lots of practice. I hate using these friggin' goggles because I can't see when I don't have them on, so it makes it difficult. It's funny, the Rolex or another watchmaker put two little tiny witness marks on this thing, on the screws, so they could make sure they go in the right place or something. On the caps, actually. I had to hold my breath for that one. Oh, don't scratch anything, you idiot. It's in there nicely, and then tighten that down. It's good. Whoever tightened it down last time was WWF champion Hercules or something. So that is that. So now I've got the all of the, what's it called, setting mechanisms and stuff. There's a name for that. I just can't remember it right now. I'm tired. So it's almost 5:30. So I may end up putting a thing on all this, and I'll finish it tomorrow morning, because you don't want to be tired when you're doing this. But the other thing I don't want to do is forget what I'm doing. So those caps are done. That's done. I should be able to, when I put the gears in and for the stem and everything, to put the plate on the top. What I always do is I put a bit of Rodico in the bottom part, flip it around, and then I know it's in place. But I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this out right now. I just have to press the button. Keep forgetting. Turn it around. I'm holding the edges so it doesn't get any crap in it. And then turn it this way, like so. And I can move that forward. I'll just do this for now. Just do it the civilian way. And there. Now I'm ready to repopulate the watch, right? But like I said before, I've got to put these parts, the ratchets and stuff back in. The crown wheel, I think it's called, this one here, and the other wheel back in place, so that the watch can actually work to wind. I need to put those in place before I put the main plate down, which is tricky. So, and this, I believe, will just fall right through. So that is not good. Maybe it won't fall through, I don't know. It's make sure I get the right one. Yeah, there it is there. That goes in like that, and then this one goes in like this. I'm sure this one will fall through, because I got to move that jobby doohickey over. So, and I got to put that in place. So what I've done before is taken a little piece of Rodico and put it on the bottom, and that way it doesn't fall through. Make that one push up though. Anyway, I'm going to do this tomorrow, I think. I'm tired right now, so I think part B is tomorrow. I'll just leave it like this, like so. I got to put a couple cups on this. Make sure this is all covered, and start again tomorrow. And that'll be all. Let me see. I'm going to make sure that all this is in place and ready to go. And not going to be a problem. You see, I'm very happy, very, very happy. Excited, very, very happy. I need to borrow one of these. So, and pick the parts up and then put them in there, and then we're ready to go. Anyway, I think that's it for now. I think I'll make this video and call it part 2. How's that sound? And we'll go for part. There, I've covered all my work with watch paper, because I don't have enough stuff, and I don't want to grab all that and put it back. I want it to be available tomorrow for the reassembly tomorrow morning. I'm nice and fresh. So that's it. Thanks a lot. Hope you enjoy this video.